Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Trani here. I'm going to dive into today's Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, I have lots of favorites, let's face it, right? Can you have too many favorites? Does it cease to be a favorite if everything is your favorite? Maybe so. But I really like harmonization in Photoshop. Making, you know, two photos match. It's all about compositing, and this is going to be super easy and awesome today. So, and we'll do color transfer. So first we're going to do color harmonization and then color transfer. Okay, so good to have you here. I see Susan Holt's in the house. Potato, Zubair as well. Sam's, good to see you. Andreas, Stony Braswell, I see you, and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Michelle, for your kind message. Audio and video is good. Change the lights to green today since we're kind of dealing with some fun nature images, and it's kind of been the theme the past couple weeks, the theme of my life. So in short, you can see the Discord above me, and you can jump out and see the creative challenge that gets posted, and then also post your results from the creative challenge. So let's just kind of hop on over. Click on over. Good morning, Robert. Tim Loomis is in the house. So here we have, just two places to basically get to the challenges. I really like this page because it lists out absolutely everything nice and clean. Doing color transfer, we're matching the lightness and color, right, of a photo, and you can also see the same thing here in Discord. But this also ultimately is going to be where you sort of post your results. People did some great jobs. Susan, you did a great job with this, sort of creating that pattern and then putting it on the dress. And yeah, I feel like it seems like it's bending across this fabric, but it's kind of hard to tell, but still we get it. Totally into this one as well. Thank you, Lisa, did a great job. So everybody's having a lot of fun, I feel. So that's the goal. Awesome. Rock and roll, people. Okay, so thank you so much for submitting. You can go ahead and get the Get Started file, which I already have open right here. So as Jennifer Cowell says, hello everyone, good to see you. Yeah, patterns are so fun. They're fun in Illustrator and they're fun in Photoshop, right? And again, spoon flower is where you can actually get those fabrics made. It's awesome. So here we are, we have this image, and really there's a couple different layers in here. We have a land bridge, a forest, a night, and a bunch of animals. Let's take a look at those. Oh yeah, big color difference. Oh, and then we go clear to a night scene. And then what else do we have? A bunch of animals. So how can you sort of cut out one of these animals and make it look like it's part of the scene there, right? How would you do that? Well, I'm gonna show you how. Yeah, I would very much like to be wherever anyone. This looks like, actually this kind of looks like it's in China. And I'm getting China vibes just for how steep the background alone, but also I'm getting Pacific Northwest vibes as well. Okay. Anyways, let's go back in here, and I showed this maybe on the first or second day. We'll go to the object selection tool. And if you have this turned on, by the way, object finder, object selection tool, that is checked. It analyzes the image, and then I can select any one of these. So select any animal that you want. Maybe you want a lone rhino sort of traversing through this plain at night. Just go ahead and click, and you'll have that rhino selected. I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, I selected it. And then like if you do a command G, because what I want to do is I don't want to really like cut it out. I actually kind of want to keep the whole layer info. So you could click and drag this down and just make a duplicate layer. So that's what I did, right? So this is going to be the rhino, R-H-I-N-O. right? It is selected. We hit the layer mask button in the lower right. Yes, that's what it is, the lower right. And now we have this issue. So of course it's not quite working. I'm going to flip it horizontally, right? But what we have is we have a layer, really all the animals there, and then we have our layer mask. Now what's cool is currently if I do a Command T, I have this huge transform box, which I don't like. And ultimately what you want to do is you want to convert that to a smart object. Convert it to a smart object. It's going to be, of course, a smart object. Keeps all that data. Command T. Now look at my bounding box. Thank you so much for actually kind of keeping it around just that rhino. Okay, so we'll double click. We're inside of here. This is what happens when you use really any selection tool. You'll end up having this little bit of a halo effect around it. So how do you get rid of it? Well, double click on that layer mask. And yes, you could use the refine edge, maybe even to just grab those light pixels right over here, right? That's all I'm doing. Grab those light pixels. And then I just like choke it. That's what I guess I'm choking the rhino. Yes, that's something that's happening. But see, there's you have shift edge to the right 100%. You want to take it into the negative. Choke that, right? Get rid of that wide edge and make sure you output to the layer mask. Click OK, and that should do it. So we'll save it, we'll close it. We now have this perfectly cut out and we're ready to do our color matching or harmonization as it's called. Okay, so here's our rhino. He's going to be traversing across this plane at night. He's like, man, I just want to, I don't know. I gotta take a trip home for the holidays. So he's on that long journey, right? So what do? Any UI designers watching this would love to know too. All right, Marsha, good to see you as well. Okay, so what do we do to make this match? I used to teach a ton of tips on how to like hack this, but really all you need to do is keep in mind the night layer. Go to filter, go to neural filters, right in here. It's going to do bring up all these options, and we want to go to harmonization. If you roll over there, it's gonna say it's match the color and luminosity right of one layer to another. So just turn that on. Nothing happens yet because we need to select a layer. From that drop down, what do? We grab that background. Shaboom. Right? It does the processing. I don't have to do a thing, right? And you could see the magic that has just happened. Do you guys see that magic? Here's your before. Here's your after. Before, after. Right? Done and done. Neural filters are cool, but they don't like Windows 11. Oh, bummer, man. I can kind of show you some ways to tweak it, because right now I'm doing kind of like an easy example. I'm trying to do the most extreme example, to be honest with you. The problem with this currently is I'm still getting a little bit of that halo effect. Oh, darn it. This happens all the time, by the way. Look what just happened. It outputted it as a new layer. So let's go back into neural filters. I don't know why it does that. You know, I really just want it to always output to a smart, since it's a smart object, output it as a smart filter. Okay. So just make that change right there. And again, adjusting the strength. So we'll zoom out. I think it looks really good about 75%. When we take it up to 100%, right, you can see how much darker it gets, which actually still works. So kind of play with this, get it to where you think it's dialed in correctly, right? Knowing that you could always change it since it's a smart filter, right? So with that done, click OK, you're done. All right, is that not magic? This is where I like pause for applause, because I think this is amazing. Jeez Louise. Let's clean up. Let's shift that edge a little bit more. I don't think it's shifted it enough. There we go. Save, close. Boom, there we are. So then from there, I would typically just hit B for brush, sample the darkest color in that picture, and then just add some like shadow or something, just to make it look like it's on the ground in this case. We'll take the flow down, kind of like that. Again, this is like awesome. I think it's awesome. Thank you, Chris. That's all. Oh, thank you, Tim. I was just waiting for, hey, amazing. Right? So guess what? We have all these other animals. You think about it, you're like, there's so many opportunities here. All right, we could put them all crossing this land bridge. We could put them in the forest, right? Which would be pretty complex. Or we could put them all in this night scene, right? And again, we do everything as a smart filter, and it's magical. Okay, so here's the situation. You ready for this? Robert and Mohammed, good to see you. Yeah, we're not joining that Mohammed, that Facebook group. Sorry, buddy. All right, so let's do this. Animals, go over here. Right, and remember, this is the shadow. Check this out. Take this. I want to cut out all these animals, and I showed this on like the second day. If you just right-click, it's not gonna cut them all out. Just mask all objects. This is brand new. Mask all objects. It's gonna go through, create all these masks, but it doesn't create the individual layers just yet. Oh, what's a kitten's favorite way to shop? I don't know, but I'm interested in hearing the punchline. Okay, so there's 22 objects. There's so many. But this is what it does. It creates all of these individual folders. So if I drop it in a folder, oh yeah, it's gonna be that animal, that animal, that animal. Guess what? All I need to do is hold down the Option key, drag, there, appearing out of nowhere, which is pretty impressive as I give you one long run-on sentence to complete. This. Oh, I needed one more and I would have nailed it. Did I get everything in a folder? Oh, that one didn't get in the folder. So boom, everything is done. Another thing you can do, if you don't like all of these masks on the folder, just click and drag. Boom. Shablam. Shablam. This is some work. I get it. But you know what? Like, it's still magical. 22 animals cut out in virtually no time, if you ask me. A couple minutes. You know? I'm impressed with it. Where are we? Right down here. You get the idea. Do you guys have any questions for me? Because I am here for you. And I'm here to make something cool, right? As well. Boom. Again, this is how you work. Let's go through. I already did this earlier today, by the way, so I kind of feel like switching to my example. You don't have to do all 22 animals. I don't know why I'm doing all 22 animals. I just got in the flow, right? But let's just take those, put them all in that folder, and now we have all animals. One folder, right? And we get rid of these other folders, and everything's cleaned up and all that good stuff. And the great thing is, for the harmonization, we can use that once and apply it many different places. In this case, let's take this elephant. Okay, so we're going to take this elephant. This elephant we're going to put in this forest as well. So what did we learn? We'll do turn that into a smart object, Command T, scale it up, and he's going to be behind those trees, right? So let's fake that depth right now by duplicating the forest and using the same object selection tool. Hold on, let's get there. Object selection tool. I'm going to turn off Object Finder because I just want to select a couple of these trees. Okay, so using my rectangle marquee, shabamo, hold down the shift key. Let's grab that tree. Let's grab this tree right over here. Kind of like that. Oh, grab two. Oh, no, that's actually fine. Throw a mask on it. Bam, there it is. You guys like this? Are you guys having fun? Hey, I like this stuff, right? And this is, we're dealing with like sort of real world compositing. How do we make it match? If you look closely, there's obviously like more yellow than pink, right? And this is going to be a harder sort of situation to deal with. Sam, so yeah, oh yeah, I would love to read that. This more clear. So this one's going to be a little bit more tricky. The reason I picked this image is we did a simple one again a second ago with this situation. The reason this was like pretty straightforward is this is pretty much one tone, right? It's all just dark blue, right? That's why this worked out great. Okay, it gets a little bit more complex when you're going from sort of a dark to light, that mist in the background, okay? But let's see how it handles it. Let's actually choke on this a little bit more. I'm choking an elephant. Jeez, what is my problem today? Just ruthless. Choke that elephant, get this tail, right? We've just shifted that edge, output as a layer mask because it's gonna be distracting otherwise. Filter, neural filters. Let me know if you have questions. Where's the shablamo key? I know. Where is it? Harmonization, again, we're gonna select the forest. It's like a pink forest or, I don't know what color, magenta. So you can see it obviously like tints it, right? Again, strength's at about 75%. Crank that up all the way and see what happens. Obviously gives it this, what's the word I'm like? Magenta. That's the word I'm looking for. Magenta tint. But I think it does a pretty good job. In fact, we'll keep that about 50% in this case, maybe up a little bit more, and output this as a smart filter. And again, before, after, and all I really had to do is adjust one slider just because I felt like doing something. It's a pink elephant. Does he look sad? Like elephants kind of have this like sad little R. It's kind of like that part. It's kind of, he's just like, oh, I gotta make it home for Christmas. Maybe we'll increase the size. When you do that, and I've made this mistake before, in here, when you output it as a smart filter, you're gonna have this layer mask. I don't even think it's needed. Is it? Let me just delete. There we go. It's not even needed. So you could just delete that layer mask because if you start to scale it, it becomes a whole thing, right? So turn that back off. Here we are. He's trudging through the forest. We'll go to puppet warp. You know me. Did I hit puppet warp or perspective warp? Puppet warp. Ba, 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 ba. You're getting more bang for your buck today, guys. I'm just like covering everything, right? Again, we're going for realism here, right? He's going up this little hill like so. Oh, I'm actually not, I'm not fooling anyone, is the case, because of that darn tree. Let's move him down. We'll go like that. Maybe he's kind of like in between right in there. But we have an issue with the darkness and lightness of this. So let's take a look at this. How do we deal with this darkness and lightness, right? A lot of people use like check layers. So if you add a black and white layer, it will eliminate the color, and you're able to see that, yeah, the elephant is a lot darker, right? These blacks are much more black. You ask how much black? No more black. So there you go. There's your check layer. You're like, okay, I need to adjust brightness and contrast, use levels, whatever you want to do. Okay. All right, cool. Oh, Andrew, did you have a question? If I missed, I think I don't. Oh, I missed it. Andrew, please repeat your question if you don't mind. This would be awesome. So what do? We'll go down here. I'll throw, again, you could try, say, brightness and contrast. It's kind of like it gets, like, I don't know. It just kind of depends. It's like pretty straightforward. Curves is going to give you like a lot of flexibility. When I jump in here for curves, it's like, hey, I need to bring up, first off, I need to create a clipping mask. So just affect the elephant, hold down that option key, okay, or alt key, click, it's just gonna affect the elephant. And now notice how I can adjust sort of the brightness, but don't make everything so bright, right? Kind of dial it in like so, okay? So again, you could bring that up a little bit to try to match it. We still have a lot of muddy colors in there, which I'm not crazy about. But I will fix. Do you ever, I'm trying to read questions. Do you ever use the smudge tool to get rid of halos? I don't. I think I used to. Sometimes you'll do it on the layer mask, I think what you're talking about. But honestly, if that works for you, that's great, right? It's going to create that sort of soft edge ultimately. Okay, so we have this situation where like, oh, we got lots of black, like muddy colors, right? And I want some more pinks in there. How would you do that? How could you add some nice pink while still keeping kind of the darks and the lights? Well, I'm going to show you how. I better, otherwise I'd be a jerk. How would you do that? I don't know. See ya. Bye. Selecting a color. So that's what I'm doing. I'm selecting just like this magenta color, hitting B for brush. This is on a layer clipping mask, and I'm painting, right? So let me just crank this up so you guys can see it. You know, painting with that color. And really, I want to replace the black with that color. So let's take the flow down first off. So you could do some of your painting, but if you go to this layer and just say, hey, you know what? I just want to change the color. So we'll go from normal down to, and you can see it, change this to color, right? Ooh, saturation even works pretty well. But I changed this to color, and it's sort of, if I paint, it's tinting it that funky color. I don't think I nailed the color correctly, but that's how I would get rid of the some of these black, you know, sort of, I don't know, it's like muddy gray, especially right here. Look at how muddy this is, right? We would just paint there a little bit, and I'd really want to kind of match it with this, the tree behind it, and that's what I'm doing, kind of painting like so. Cool. Andrew's question, can you color harmonize with all of the animals at the same time? You cannot, unless they're all part of a smart object, you can't put a neural filter on a folder. So yeah, that's one thing you cannot do. So that's your answer, right? So again, I could play with this like all day long. Typically I jump in here, you know, add your shadows like we were doing before. Remember, you don't always want to paint in shadows with black, right? You want to use sort of like the darkest color from your image. Let's go right up here. Again, select, clip, brush, paint, right? I'm just kind of making that blend in. Okay, so you get the idea. Kind of already went through this work. Yeah, so you would have to convert them all into a smart object, right? That's ultimately what you'd want to do. But what I would do, so we want to bring in some more animals. Let's do it. Andrew wants it. Andrew's getting it. All right, Andrew. Here you go. Let's take a look. Let's turn on all these crazy animals. Giraffe. Shabam. Get in there, giraffe. Get into the mix. Right? We'll take this. We'll convert this to a smart object. We'll take this neural filter, hold down the option key, and click and drag it up. And that will apply it to that smart object. As we can see, there's that neural filter that got applied. Should have gotten applied, even though it doesn't quite look like it's... Wait for it. Okay, so I applied it. I'm just going to crank that up some more. And man, that did not do a whole lot. Let's double check the layer mask. I hate it when it does that. So typically you could drag that neural filter up there. But yeah, I'd probably want to maybe tweak it per animal. I'll go ahead and kind of switch over to the final, like, actually let's do this really fast, because this is what I was going to end with. Take all these, put them in a smart object. They're now part of one smart object, and what hides like a multitude of sins, as I usually say, is neural filters, and like giving everything a tint or a color lookup. But again, I wanted to talk about color transfer, right? This is going to steal the style from these other photos and apply it to this one. So that tends to hide any issues that you might have, and obviously gives it a whole new look in this case. So again, just trying to cover the new neural filters for you, if you don't mind, right? Just to see what we get. That looks pretty good. I'll put that as a smart filter, right? And that's done. And yeah, I'll add more animals later, but you guys get the idea. I could output this and post it to our Discord. Yeah, so thank you so much, Michelle. And by the way, like, it makes it really, color harmonization is my new best friend. I'm not kidding. Because Michelle knows I used to probably teach it using curves and modifying the auto features and curves and sample and colors. It was a mess. But now it's pretty darn easy. So right in here, harmonization. Color harmonization. You got to say it like that too. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I got one more day and I'm going to miss you guys. I'm getting all choked up already. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.